Tell me, I mean, so the Braves, how did the Braves come to Atlanta, and then did they have to originally do a lot of PR stuff to get people excited in Atlanta, or were they already excited because they wanted a team?
Well, I think there was a lot of anticipation in Atlanta to have a team, but you got to remember, Atlanta was pretty much a small town.
In the 60s.
Yeah,
right?
it was the 60s, and they had that sign up in front of the Darlington Apartments on Peachtree there that said, the population of Atlanta, and it was like 800,000. Then, a few years later, we go over 1 million. Everybody celebrated. Well, it was the Atlanta, Birmingham, Knoxville, Charlotte were all sort of in competition at the time to be the capital of the South. Well, what was happening is two cities really wanted Major League Baseball in the Southeast. The baseball had been until recently when the Dodgers moved to Los Angeles and the Giants to San Francisco, had pretty much just been a Northeast and Midwest regional sport. I mean, even though it was Major League Baseball. And so the idea was, if you could open up the Southeast, you'd have that whole, quarter of the country out there as your base. Well, Charlie Finley owned at that time, the Kansas City Athletics. And the Kansas City Athletics, he was from Birmingham, Alabama. And his intention was to move the athletics to Birmingham, and they would be the team for the South. And luckily, Ivan Allen Jr., who was the mayor of Atlanta, and also Mills Lane, who was head of CNS Bank and all, and a few community leaders, wanted to get a big league team for Atlanta. So they didn't have a place to play. So they felt like, as an edge, they would, what's the old line, they built a stadium with money they didn't have on land they didn't own for a team that didn't exist. And so they built the Atlanta Stadium, which was later called Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, for, I think it was $17 million. I mean, just not, in today's world, you couldn't build a stadium at all for anything like that. So they built this stadium, and the first time I saw it, I thought it was the most magnificent thing I'd ever seen. But then, they were in competition to try to get a team. And luckily for Atlanta, to move an American League team, which is the league that the A's are in, the athletics, you had to get 100% of all team votes. However, to move a National League team, which the Braves are in the National League, you only had to get 75% of the owners to vote.
I didn't know that.
And so, in this, time when you couldn't get 100% of the American League teams to vote, the two options really for Atlanta, because the A's would have moved to Birmingham, were the Cleveland Indians or the Milwaukee Braves. Well, the Indians, you were in the American League, you still couldn't get 100% of the vote. So the Braves, they got